All right, we're back, and it's the day after. Ford comes back at strong. Chastain does his thing yet again, and Mathew gets some hope from Brad, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. Let's talk about it, because we're here for the speed. All right, as we said, we are back yet again. We survived the trip to Atlanta. We didn't get a lot of sleep, but we're here. We made it. We did it. Man, are you guys awake?
No.
Oh my God. Yeah, we got back pretty late. We got back. What did we get? What was it, like 2 in the morning?
2 in the morning.
2 or something like that. Yeah, it's pretty late. So, being that it was late, we don't have our normal crew with us. We got a little bit of an adjustment. We'll let them introduce themselves in due time. But as always, I'm DJ with Here for the Speed, and I am joined by.
My name's Jacob. I'm sitting next to
Nate, and our special guest is.
What's up? I'm Lindsay. Hello. I am the CEO of Here for the Speed podcast. I am the creator of all things social media. And I also came up with the name Here for the Speed. Thank you.
Why did we bring her?
It's bringing a lot of energy.
Yeah, that's what we needed because we were all just absolutely trashed and tired and everything. We needed more energy, so we brought Lindsay.
I'm here to serve.
I feel like you can tell the 3 people that survived a 21-hour day yesterday and the one that did not go.
I don't know. I try, but no. I'm going to probably pass out as soon as this podcast is over. So, yeah. So, we had a good time. So, guys, we got to go. And, Lindsay, I don't know. Did you get a chance to watch it at all?
I did.
You did? Okay. So, you'll know at least some of what we're talking about. That's good. So, what would we think? What did you guys think? What were your impressions of the race so far?
So I really enjoyed myself. It was my second race. So, of course, a lot to experience. Yes, this is my first full NASCAR season, as stated in previous podcasts.
We actually got a video of him getting on the track and walking on a NASCAR track for the first time.
Oh, my God. Dude,
It's
that
so
was
funny.
so awesome.
That was cool.
Honestly, even when we went to Talladega, we didn't get the track passes. So just being on, getting on the track and, being there, was absolutely amazing. We got to, stand kind of close to pit road. Well, super close. I was gazing at Bowman's car for a good 45 minutes to an hour. Just literally taking all and his car was right there.
It was right there.
In arm's reach.
It was close. I was a little surprised that they would let people get as close as we were to that.
Security was also right there. So it's
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like I could cause damage fast enough that it was that close.
That's what's special about NASCAR, right? I mean, where else do you get to go get that kind of access besides last weekend at the NHRA, you get similar kind of experience.
Yeah.
But that's just something about motorsports, man. It's just you get closer and you get to be. I mean, nobody else is that close to the football field or any experience or whatever.
Unless you're a millionaire.
Yeah, I mean, the average is not something that's attainable for the average fan.
Exactly. That's honestly, for someone that's new to the sport, a new fan to NASCAR, that is one thing that really sticks out for me, is the fact that, we were there, we were watching the drivers, several feet away from us, just walking down.
Yeah.
Signing stuff.
Oh, man. That is
Taking
absolutely
photos.
amazing, man. I really, really enjoyed myself. But when it comes to the actual race, I thought it was a great race. Mm-hmm. I thought based on qualifying, there were a few, wrecks in qualifying, and also in the Xfinity, of course, the day before. That was bad.
We'll talk about that later. But yeah,
I thought there were going to be more wrecks. But it was green a lot of the time. They raced, aggressively, but it was still a great show. So I really, really, especially going down towards the last laps, they put on a show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I loved it. This was our 3rd trip to Atlanta. We went once on the old configuration, right before the repave, and we went last year, and we went this year. So this is our 3rd trip. It's great, man. It's a day trip for us. It's a long day, but we can do it in a day, and we really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. The track is a lot of fun. Yeah, we're no doubt about it. We're fans of super speedway racing, so we're a fan of the product it produces for the most part. And yeah, it's just, I mean, Atlanta's a nice trip. Free parking all around the venue. The midway is pretty good.
And honestly, even the parking, like the farthest out that I could see parking, it's not that far.
No,
like,
they have a lot of land around the track.
Yeah.
And then they give it all away for free, which is, it's just nice because, you know, Daytona, I feel like they do offer like free parking, but you're right there. And I mean, the city built around that racetrack, so you just don't have the luxury of having trackside free parking.
You also know that, like, when it comes to like something like Daytona, obviously, if you're going to the Daytona 500, like, they know that that's when they can really make some money. So I feel like, whereas it's just an Atlanta race, it doesn't.
There's nothing else around the racetrack.
Yeah. So like, exactly.
There's nobody out there trying to make money besides like the vendors.
Yeah. So, and you know, as far as like stuff to do, it was super cool. We got to see Chastain was being interviewed for a little bit. Got to hear him talk about the Martinsville wall and them taking that out and what their plans are with that. Keep an eye out for social media. I've sent those videos over to Lindsay, so we're going to see where, you know, he kind of talks a little bit about some of the places that might end up, where, because he wants to package the wall and the car together.
Yeah. So it was funny about that Chastain interview.
Oh, I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Like, you know, they at the end of like an interview, they have a bunch of predetermined questions, and then they do a couple fan questions, and, you know, then they say, all right, everybody give it up for whichever driver, and everybody claps and cheers. But as Ross is getting down, this person right in front of us, I don't know, 20 feet away from Ross, yells, what did he say?
I don't remember what exactly it was.
It was something like, Ross wrecked Denny, or something like that.
Something.
Funny. You know?
And then Jake tried to start a chant.
Yeah, I did. I'm about that drama.
People were laughing. It was
Dude,
funny.
Chastain couldn't get out of there quick enough.
I'll tell you too, when we were down on the track pass, we're standing right there on the fence where all the drivers are coming by, heading to the stage, and somebody else yells right next to us to Denny Hammond's like, stay away from Ross, Denny. And you can see the look of annoyance on his face.
Dude.
He visibly just kind of looked away and shook his head.
Dude, if there was ever a driver that has any kind of kryptonite, it is 100% Denny Hamlin, and his name is Ross Chastain.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, for sure. But dude, it was super cool. Like, you know, going around on the track, being able to sit there and, you know, see all the drivers come out of the drivers meeting, like you said, being real close.
It's a whole parade now.
Yeah,
This is super cool. So this is something that I haven't noticed before, but we noticed it at Daytona. Me and Lindsay got really close. And then we noticed this year that it's a whole ensemble of team executives, NASCAR people, and then all the drivers and their families come out, and it's a whole parade of people.
Yeah.
And if you know where to be, not that it's not hard, but if you can position yourself in a good spot, I mean, you can literally see every important figure of NASCAR pretty much walk by right there. It's super cool.
Yeah, and some of the drivers you can tell are a little more in a hurry. They're maybe a little more focused than others. Some are super engaging. I don't remember which one it was that I saw that came over. There were some kids in front of us that they were signing stuff for. But you know, it was super cool. Like Larson, he had both his kids with him and stuff like that. You know, walking around, that was super cool. Yeah, it was a good time. You know, Daytona, Atlanta. It's a good time. And you know, we're maybe a tad sunburned, but fortunately the weather otherwise, I mean, it was cold, but otherwise I thought it was a gorgeous day. So I mean, it was a good day to, you know, be sitting out in the sun.
Yeah, really. Once we got in the seats and kind of
it
sitting
wasn't
in the
bad.
sun, it was perfect weather. I mean, you couldn't ask for more. I mean, it was beautiful.
I thought it was going to be a lot colder, but it was like, it was almost like there was just a very little wind chill, nothing crazy. But man, it was a beautiful day.
Yeah, they said this was one of the best-selling Atlanta races in a while too. The
Really?
crowd was awesome, man. It was super packed.
Yeah, it
You
was.
know, I don't know how it looked from TV, but from being there, it was like this place is packed.
Oh yeah.
There was only like a little bit in like the middle area. I noticed like the middle, like up by the start-finish line, there was some empty seats, which I'm
Down at the very lowest level. But
Yeah.
those are the worst seats in the whole place because
Yeah.
there's no banking. You can't see the backstretch at
No.
all. So
Yeah, that's kind of makes sense. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, I mean, it was pretty packed. It definitely was better than the time we went there right after COVID. There was like nobody there that time. That was weird.
Yeah. The worst part of yesterday was probably the shrieking dog at the end of the national anthem. Because I don't know, he was
that
doing
national
great.
anthem was amazing.
Dude, he was doing
good.
phenomenal. I'm like, he's gonna ace it. This is it. right on the last note.
The last thing.
Everybody
what was that?
Everyone was looking around like something went wrong.
I think everyone
Because it
legit.
did.
I think
Something
everyone.
did go wrong.
Yeah, I think everyone legit thought that it was like a feedback issue or something like
Yeah,
that.
that was crazy.
Because everyone,
I really thought you were talking about a real dog. I was like, oh.
No, I'm going to show you the video later.
We got to show you the video.
The best comment on Twitter was like, that national anthem was great until somebody kicked the puppy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like that's literally what it sounded like. I don't know what
it was
that
bad.
was.
It was really bad. Yeah, I don't know who was like.
I feel like he
do
needs
that.
to apologize.
Atlanta Motor Speedway retweeted it, and everybody's like, "Why wouldn't you just cut off the end?" Because like every single comment I read every single comment. Every single comment was like negative.
Yeah.
Who sang
There
the
were
national
people-
anthem? Was it like a random person?
He was
or?
some Grammy nominated guy. I don't.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of him, but I mean, he was good.
He was good.
really
he
good.
sang it really good. And
Until
then
the very
towards the
end.
end, the very last,
last
note,
word.
the very last, yeah, brave.
Yeah.
It was just like I don't know what that was.
Oh,
it was bad.
Look, there are times where I am legitimately speechless, and it's not very often. That was one of them because I legit was just like yeah.
What
That
did you even
just
say
it,
after
it
that?
just happened. Like I don't know what that means,
That
but
poor
like-
guy is probably in a hole hiding.
Yeah,
He
he
probably
has to
feels
be.
so
He should be.
embarrassed
He
that
should be.
he, you know what I mean? Like he probably is so embarrassed that he did that.
He should be.
Oh,
Honestly,
keeping it real with Nate part 2.
always.
keeping it real.
I will say as a whole in general about the pre-race experience. Like when you go to the Daytona 500, it's incredible. It feels like the pageantry, the epicness, like it feels like a world-class event. You go to Atlanta, you know, and this is something I think NASCAR is going to have to figure out if they want to start growing like Formula One is in the United States. It's very comfortable, and I don't want to say mid because that makes it sound bad, but it doesn't do much that's that extraordinary. And that's not just Atlanta; that's any other racetrack besides the 500. But you look at Las Vegas this year, COTA this year, and are they going back to Miami this year at F1?
Yes, I believe so.
I mean, those are crazy, ridiculous events. Like all kind of big name music acts. Like there's so much more to do, and I think NASCAR needs to start focusing on some of that.
I think that's
Again, that's not an Atlanta Motor Speedway problem. I think this is a NASCAR.
Yeah,
This
I
is a
agree.
NASCAR thing they have got to figure out.
Yeah, they got to figure out a way to make. I've heard other people say like in the sport that they need to make it to where it's not just the race. Like obviously that's the highlight, but you're going to a party and the race is there.
If you like just the racing,
You're gonna go.
Like we loved it. It was great. We
Yeah.
got some pre-race entertainment beforehand. We got to see the drivers, and we saw an awesome race. Anything outside of that, if you're not a race fan and you're coming to try this out for the first time, it's a lot to endure. It's a lot to try to get into without having anything that's familiar.
Yeah.
So I think they got to work on that. If you go to F1, you can go see, some big headliner celebrity and then go watch a race. Indy 500 does something very similar on the course of their weekend, with a lot of pre-race festivities. It's just, that's something they're going to have to start figuring out.
What I really loved was the fact that they did have some things like they had iRacing in a tent set up outside.
Yeah.
They had free sliders at the Hawaiian bread stand or whatever. They had a few things that were pretty cool.
I guess I'm thinking if you're trying to draw new people, if you're brand new and never been to a race and you just got, like what besides the racing product, what makes you want to go back? Now, granted, Atlanta is a really great ticket. I mean, our tickets were like $40 because we knew from last year.
Some of it,
So,
the problem is too, like
not bad.
if they do too much, those ticket prices then double because they got to justify those costs, and then it's like, did you just destroy that value of a ticket because now you're paying $80 instead of $40 for that ticket? And so I think it's a fine line, definitely a little harder to balance, but I think NASCAR's getting there. I think they're going to be all right. I think they're going to figure that out. It's just a matter of how long is it going to take for them to catch up, so to speak, to Formula One and Indy. But I think they're in the right step.
Yeah.
So all right, so let's start talking about some of our topics. So one topic that we had no idea how to throw it into this show because it's not really an about it or not kind of section. So I'm just going to throw it out. It's the penalties that happened this last week with Hendricks and Colleague. So Jake's got the exact numbers. I think he said as he was telling us as we were going over this in our pre-show. They're in my head. They're in my brain, and it's like, okay, got it. So if he's wrong, like his brain ain't working. Might be a little tired. But basically, yeah, the whole Hendricks team minus Chase Elliott getting some driver points basically is docked. I'll let you go.
Some driver points.
Yeah, some.
Yeah, so all the Hendrick guys and the colleague car of Justin Haley, right?
Justin Haley,
yeah.
Yep.
So they each got knocked with 100 points, $100,000, 10 playoff points, and 100 owner points, excuse me. So except for Chase Elliott, who did not receive the 100 driver point penalty because he was obviously not in the race car. And Josh Berry claims points in Xfinity Series, so he does not get knocked with those points either.
Gotcha. And anyway, we wanted to talk about it. Like, what do you guys think? It sounds like NASCAR said there was an advantage.
So that you have the tale of two sides here. So NASCAR says on their side they think they did it for an advantage. They said they may even had to have made an adjustment. But they did, excuse me, but they did alter it in a way that would likely give them an enhancement. On the other side, you have Chad Knaus. Chad Knaus's comments this week, he went to war with NASCAR.
I actually didn't even hear what he said.
He basically this is a terrible situation for the entire industry and the teams as a whole. And just this whole situation. He basically said, you knew about this. He basically said these parts are bad because NASCAR's quality control did not catch it first. He's like, so all these parts are supposed to go to a manufacturer. The manufacturer sends it to NASCAR. They QC it and then provide it to the teams. So if it's bad, he's like, well, it went through NASCAR first. And basically, that's like declaring war with NASCAR.
Yeah.
So the whole appeal process, for those who don't know how that works, it's not NASCAR who appeals it. It's not the team. It's the teams. NASCAR penalizes the teams. The teams file an appeal, right? And then they go in front of a board. And it's approved board, old drivers, industry executives. There's all kinds of people that are on this board. I believe it's like 5 people. I'm not 100% sure. And then they vote on either decreasing the penalty, removing the penalty, or they can judge the penalty was not stiff enough and raise the penalty. So they're really the judge, jury, and the executioner all in one.
Man.
But yeah, so it does come down to that. NASCAR did appeal. Colleague did appeal as well.
You mean Hendrick?
I'm sorry, Hendrick did appeal to NASCAR, and so did Colleague.
Okay.
So with it not being a playoff crucial moment right now, typically in the playoffs, the appeal would happen this week. Yeah. But it could be a couple weeks out, especially with a tire test going on right now in North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, this massively affected the point standings of these teams.
Yep.
And you look at, Byron and Bowman were looking really solid and not so much anymore.
No, this is.
It's recoverable. Like they can recover from it.
Yeah, Byron still has his wins, so he's still in the playoffs.
Yep.
But these 100 points, this certainly almost takes them all out of the running for the regular season championship. I don't know how you're going to come up 100 points. You'd have to have the most ridiculous season. So, even if all 3 of them, because Elliott missing too much time, he won't make it into the top 10. But if the other 3 can make it, then, that'll be really impressive. They can make it into the top 10.
Yeah.
In points.
Yeah, it's wild too, because I think the part that a lot of people were wondering about was just because how dominant the Chevys were early in the season, and then they're like, oh, there's these louvers, and they're NASCAR's testing them, and it's like, well, that was it, that was their advantage, that's why they're doing so well. But then literally they came out right after that, and that was I think right before Phoenix, or was it?
It was during Phoenix,
or was it Las Vegas?
No, Phoenix. They confiscated them on Friday morning, Friday afternoon, right after practice.
Okay, so and then they came out and dominated Phoenix.
Yeah, so qualified up high and ran really, really
so
well.
It's almost like, okay, well, maybe they didn't provide that much of an advantage, and maybe Hendricks was right, and I don't know. I honestly don't know how this is going to go
either. Like I said, listening to both sides, NASCAR believes they're 100% right, and Chad Knaus feels 100% right.
Look, all I gotta say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Chad Knaus, Jake knows what I'm about to say. Look, I'm not saying the guy's cheating, but I'm not saying the guy's not cheating because everybody knows he was caught on video several years ago telling Jimmy Johnson.
Nate probably doesn't know this.
Telling Jimmy Johnson, hey, if we win, just what do you say?
Back it in the fence.
Back it in the fence a little bit. Back it in the fence a little bit.
Basically damage the rear end.
And Jimmy's like, wait, what? Yeah.
And he's like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Do you know what I'm saying?
And he's like, what? And he's like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Now he's all trying to act like an innocent dove, like he hasn't been caught cheating in front of the whole world. I'm not saying he's cheating. I'm just saying that I'm not putting it past him.
You can fact check me on this. I'm pretty sure, but I'm almost positive. Chad Canales is the most penalized crew chief in NASCAR history.
Yeah.
Well,
He's had more time suspended than any other crew chief.
I'm just saying.
I think he has over $1 million in fines from cheating.
He should sit down a little. He should just
and then they promoted him to director of competition.
he should just sit down a little. That's all I'm saying.
On top of that, though, he was a crew chief for the driver that has the most tied for the most championship wins.
He's got 7 championships.
He was Jimmy Johnson's crew chief.
Yeah, he has 7 championships for a reason.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
I feel like he did have a good point though, like just trying to make it fit.
I've seen him when he's guilty, and he don't look guilty. He has a tell. Like he gets real quiet, and he's not going to try to fight it in the public eye. Now he's fighting it in the public eye.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. The sad thing is I feel like it's going to be, we're obviously sitting and waiting. And so it's kind of hard to know because we're not going to hear anything until the final decision happens. And obviously they're not going to release a ton of information because both sides want to keep as much private, I'm assuming, for their side of the case, and everything.
No, this is a full-on court case, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're going to want to try to keep quiet. So we're not going to know anything for, like you said, probably a couple weeks and everything. And that's tough. So what else are we going to do but speculate?
So the thing too with NASCAR points. So if you have under say the 10 playoff points, right? And all the drivers got knocked 10 playoff points except for Elliott. So let's say you have 5 at the start of the playoffs. That doesn't mean you have 0. That means you have -5. So you do lose those playoff points.
Yeah.
So even though I've heard some people say, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Like, oh, LA doesn't have any, or not LA, but Byron and Bowman. Like, maybe they don't have 10 yet anyways. No, you lose them regardless. You will go into the negative category. The funniest stat I saw last week was if we all, joined the race this week, we'd all be higher in points than Justin Haley. Because he's literally negative points starting this week.
I saw. I think it was NASCAR Chasm was like he was tweeting Travis Pastrana. He's like, "Hey, I'm pretty sure you're like 7th in points now. If you want to come back, like I don't know if you're aware of this, but like you could make a run."
No, this is brutal. I mean, Byron went from leading the points to like 28th.
Yeah, it was a huge difference.
That's massive. I mean, they got 21 races to go to climb back up for the regular season, but unless Byron goes on an absolute tear, there's no way he wins
will this affect them though in the playoffs at all?
The 10 playoff points.
But that's the only
basically
part.
Byron's 2 wins that he got. All those bonus points, they're gone.
But the 2 wins basically
still locked.
Probably locked him in.
Oh yeah, the 2 wins he's locked in for sure. He's 100% locked in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's just.
So something else I was thinking about
they're going to be in a hole, man.
You remember we were talking a few weeks ago and NASCAR was removing the rule for what was it, behind 30th place, getting in and eligible for the
LaJoie rule.
Yeah, the LaJoie rule.
Yeah,
dude, think about it now. Like, if they didn't have that rule, you could have a scenario.
I think more realistically, everybody was kind of pointing out the LaJoie thing. Oh, they only did this for the LaJoie in case the LaJoie wins. I think
Brad was a big part of that too.
That's a good one too. I was gonna say I think this is more like for like an injury, like a Chase Elliott scenario. I was on board with like, oh, this is for like a LaJoie, but Chase Elliott getting hurt and getting knocked out. If he misses 6 to 10 weeks, like they're saying,
yeah, it's gonna be a while.
He's probably not gonna be able to get up past 30th.
No, probably not.
I
mean, he'll probably get his win, so he'll get locked in. But yeah, you're right. He'll probably be below 30th.
Yeah, because if you see who's at the bottom. I mean, there's a lot of teams like I think Corey LaJoie is sitting like 14th in points right now.
Well, I mean, he finished 4th.
Yeah, they said it was his career best finish for him.
Yeah, he did really good, and that's the second time he's done really good at this track. Like Corey LaJoie is probably going to start being a sleeper pick at Atlanta, and maybe even in super speedways in general. Because man, he was up there.
Spire has been making gains this year. So Corey LaJoie talked about on his podcast.
Stacking them pennies.
Yep. For real.
They finally were able to buy something decent.
Well, they were talking about last year. They made a bunch of gains. Inspire took all those gains and they really put back into the race car this year to really try to keep growing. So, and you're seeing the fruits of it. 14th in the point standings.
Yeah, that's not bad for a team that was, in the 30s last year. Like, I mean, obviously it's early, so it's tough to say, but still, it's a good showing so far. You're looking something up, so I feel like you're about to say something.
No, I'm just looking at the points,
Oh, okay.
Kyle Larson's 32nd in points. God. He's behind Chase Elliott by 6 points.
And him being DNF yesterday, I mean, that doesn't really help.
Oh, yeah, he hates super speedways.
Oh, Chase Elliott's been out, 3 weeks?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Larson hates super speedways.
Cody Ware has more points than Kyle Larson.
Oh.
That is painful.
Just hearing that didn't sound right. I mean, like, that's what's wild.
You know who else is doing really good in points? AJ Allmendinger and Michael McDowell are 17th and 18th in points.
I'm going to be honest.
That's wild.
I expected AJ to be a little better so far in the season.
I think when we get to the road courses.
Oh, well,
I
fair
mean,
enough.
he'll be a pick next week, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I'll probably have him picked, to be honest. I might be giving away my play, but, he did really good last year.
So now with these points mix-ups, I mean, there's some really interesting ones up here, like Christopher Bell's in second. That's pretty wild. Ross Chastain's in third. He's been up there pretty much the whole time. Brad Keselowski, he's in fifth. What a turnaround from last year.
Man. Well, I mean, it's amazing what happens when you don't start the year off with,
in a 100-point hole, like
100-point
Hendrick.
hole. Yeah.
Bell had a good run yesterday.
Kurt Busch.
Bell had a good run yesterday.
Bell had a fast car yesterday.
Yeah. And
he could push like something fierce.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy how good he was pushing. And I saw him do a couple of slide jobs on some people down low. Man, he was moving.
Surprised. I was surprised. He did really well.
Yeah.
You know who I'm disappointed in? Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
Because he had a lot of races to run last year, replacing Kurt Busch.
And he's in a good car.
That's a good car. He's 19th in points. And
I'm not disappointed in him. You reap what you sow, sir.
Okay.
No chill at all.
That's also getting three spots from all the Hendrick guys getting a 100-point penalty.
Oh, my God.
So you remove that penalty, which could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, then Ty Gibbs is running 22nd in points. I mean, that's bad.
To go from Kyle Busch in your
really
car
bad.
to running 22nd in points.
Yeah. I mean, figure Kyle Busch is in 7th in points.
Now, to be fair to him, how many incidents was he caught up in? It were not his fault.
I think he's over driving the car.
I mean, possibly.
I think we're seeing the car is not as good as Gibbs thought it was. I think you're seeing that, man. Because Kyle goes to RCR with the car that was running good and is winning races.
Yeah.
Well, won a race, but, fast every week.
Okay, but to be fair, now something else. Now, Reddick. Reddick hasn't been real good this year either.
2311 is off.
I feel like 23, maybe it's a 2311 Toyota issue where it's like they're just.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace hasn't been very good either. They're very mid-pack.
I mean, Truex surprised me this week because
he did finish
the Gibbs cars are pretty good. Denny Hamlin's been fast. Bell's been fast.
Yeah.
Truex has been hot or cold or hot or mid.
Yeah.
He hasn't been bad yet.
But yeah, so I mean, basically the Toyotas right now they're batting about 50%. So I mean, you got half their cars doing good and half their cars that are just doing terrible.
Yeah.
So weird stuff. But all right, so let's move on into our favorite section, the I'm about it phase. So here we got a couple different topics. We're going to each go around, say whether we're about it or not. And we're going to start this off with Denny Hamlin getting a penalty for admitting that he wrecked Chastain on his podcast. Jake, I'm going to start with you.
I'm not about it. I think it's a bullcrap penalty, man.
Really?
It's super trash. NASCAR needs this. They need drama. They need drivers that have beef. What made Dale Earnhardt great? He had beef with everybody. That's one of the reasons why everybody loved him. He wouldn't take no crap from nobody. That's why people love Ross Chastain. Mm-hmm. So NASCAR needs that, man. Kevin Harvick was always known as a bruiser, roughing people up. I mean, we need that drama with drivers not getting along. And all this fine does is make Denny Hamlin not want to speak his mind. And I want to hear what Denny Hamlin has to say.
All right.
I can agree. I'm not about it. I believe that rivalries are good. It creates excitement in sports, and when you take away that factor, I mean, you're not leaving much for much excitement. I mean, there's still excitement, but there's still that factor of rival. Like, I mean, you look at all the greatest teams, right? Mm-hmm. And you see who their rivals are, and it's like that's what makes like them facing each other the greatest. Like
that's what makes fans yell things out to the drivers when they walk down pit road.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like NASCAR needs that. Being someone that's new, I like to see rivalries. I like to see.
Had to mention it.
I know.
One
I
more
will.
time.
Listen, I'm always gonna mention it. All right. I'm giving the new person perspective. That's why I'm here.
That's your job. This is my job.
This is my job. I'm doing my job. No, but yeah, man. I feel like rivalries are good, and I'm just not about the penalty, man. I think that's gonna like Jake said, that's gonna make him not want to do make those aggressive moves and create more of that rivalry, and it lessens the excitement.
Yeah. Lindsay, what do you think? You haven't said much today.
Which
is characteristically bad for you.
You're about the penalty?
I'm about it. And here's why. I agree with what you said. And I think, look, he's rolling his eyes at me. Look, I agree with what you said. It needs the drama. We all love the drama. We love all that. But I don't think it was what he said. It was how he said it. The thing is NASCAR has always...
How about how he said it?
Yeah, I know. And for the fan, it's fun. But NASCAR has a set of rules, the way that they do things. And he should have known. He's been in NASCAR for how long? And he's going to go up there and on a podcast and say it how he said it. He had to have known. Like, you can't tell me Denny Hamlin was like, oh, like blindsided by it. Like, come on. The same thing happened with Kyle Larson when his whole drama and that whole situation went down, and Joey Logano got up there and said, this is just what it is when you sign on and you do the contract, with your sponsor and your team.
You're talking about when he dropped the racial slur?
Yes.
Okay.
I obviously it was a different situation, and
I'm just
saying that
you're
thing
held
is,
to a standard.
Yes, yeah. And you can't just go and say that you're trying to wreck somebody on purpose. Like, it wasn't what he said; it was how he said it. I feel like if he would have worded it differently, it wouldn't have even been a big deal.
Yeah.
So because of how NASCAR has their rules, I'm about it. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because they do need the drama, and it's fun.
So he pretty much did he kind of ratted himself out.
He did.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Here's the thing with NASCAR. I love black and white rules, right? Everything should be black and white. And if you go by that mentality, black and white, he admitted he wrecked him. He should be penalized. But this shouldn't be a black and white call. This needs to be a ball and strike call, like an umpire calls. This needs to be how they see it in the heat of the moment during the race. They did not call it, and that's how it should have stayed. This is way different than when Bubba Wallace intentionally wrecked Kyle Larson last year down the front stretch at speed, and that was freaking really dangerous.
Yeah.
And then that's also different than William Byron wrecking Denny Hamlin under caution. I agree with both of those penalties, 100%, because that was blatant and unsafe. But this, you door a guy in the wall a little bit. Come on.
I'm telling you, it's because it's how he said it.
But it's not even about the money. It's about the driver points. That's why he has to go now, put his tail between his legs, and say sorry, and go back on it. If it was about money, he would never have said anything. But the driver point impact is going to change everything, and it's going to make him be quiet. And now he's going to be like, well, I don't know how to say it nicely. No, man. I want to hear him. I want to hear him say I wrecked him.
I highly doubt he's going to be quiet because I feel like
I want Denny Hamlin to come on and say, I don't like Ross Chastain and I wrecked him.
Dude, okay.
I don't feel like he's going to be quiet. He's Denny freaking Hamlin. He's not going to be quiet.
I don't even really like Denny Hamlin that much, and I love Ross Chastain, but I want to hear that beef.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
So I am going to say I'm kind of with Lindsay.
Thank you.
I'm about it.
Thank you.
All right. So
we're on an island over here, Nate.
No. So here's my thing. Is I'm with you guys in the sense that like it's the drama part of it. Like I love it. I'm all there for that. But the problem is I think it's the way he said it.
Thank you.
I think I really do. Like because the thing is, look,
y'all just can't handle the truth.
No. See, here's the thing. You're on.
I bet Denny Hamlin would like our Being Real Nate section.
He should have just sugarcoated it for y'all.
No, look.
No, I don't have a problem with it.
No, but the thing is he could have very easily still said the same thing, but phrased it a little differently. And it wouldn't have been an issue. It was very obvious that in that interview that he's talking on his podcast that he's like, I saw it was Ross, and you're coming with me, buddy. Like I'm gonna ruin. You don't think
he's tired of Ross's crap?
He's 100% tired of it.
Think about last year when he what was it? He got Ross back. Where was it? But he got screwed. No, that one he did. But Ross had him twice.
Gateway, he blocked him like the entire race.
Yeah, but there was another one that he tried to get Ross back, and he got screwed. So he really didn't get Ross back because Denny Hamlin still got screwed out of the deal. I forget what happened.
I think it was Pocono because he ended up losing. He won the race.
I was gonna say,
he won, but he got disqualified.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he got it
Ross
back.
Finished in a higher
but
position.
he finished worse. Right. So
well, look at this thing.
So
who finished in a worse position? Hamlin. He tried to get Ross,
so he loses again.
Yes. So in other words,
this feud is not over.
No, I agree, but that just means Hamlin is absolutely terrible at trying to get back at Ross.
Yeah.
And Ross yet again has got some kind of lucky horseshoe or something hidden in his car.
He needs to find another way to get back up.
But my thing
I want Ross to send him at Coda.
It's not like he hasn't done it before.
Only for the fact that I just want the drama to continue.
I swear though, have you guys noticed? Is it just me? Like I swear I have never seen two cars find each other on the track.
Magnets, man.
Dude, those two always are next to each other somehow, and I'm just like, here we go again. So yeah, I'm about the penalty only because I don't think you can have drivers going and bragging on their podcast about, yeah, I wrecked him, because I don't think that promotes a sportsman-like narrative.
Yeah.
And that's my problem.
Yeah, and I think that
I think guys should have it out, but it's like, leave that crap on the track. No, you had a problem with
Y'all
you have a
need to
problem with
watch
Ross?
basketball or something.
No, you have a problem with Ross?
Touch me. Oh!
DJ watches more basketball than any of you.
I was gonna say I watch more basketball than everybody at this table.
Makes sense.
Oh,
So, and don't get me started.
He taps his elbow, falls into the stands.
Don't get me started on the 90s were much better. Okay. All right. So, but no, I'm like, my thing is with Hamlin. You got a problem with Ross? Bro, go over on pit road, handle it there. Like, get in a fight. Like, that's what I want to see.
And take your helmet off.
Yes. Thank you. Take the helmet off. Don't fight with a helmet on.
No.
Yeah.
That's just not allowed.
I don't want this to stop.
So, no, I mean.
Well, like, has this ever happened before?
Feuds?
Where someone went on the media and got penalized for what they said?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Bubba has met.
Bubba. So there was a thing, not so much this car, but last couple years, if you actually the reason why is because now NASCAR's watching very closely with the telemetry. But drivers would intentionally, like if they got a flat tire, they could easily drive it back to pit road, but they would intentionally spin out to bring a caution.
That way they wouldn't go a lap down.
Yeah, to stay on the lead lap, or only go down one lap. Worst case.
So they could be in the
but
lucky
then
dog.
Bubba, everybody was doing it, but nobody said anything. Bubba comes out of the interview and admits it. Of course I do it.
Ruins
Everybody
for
does
everybody.
it. Boom. Penalty.
It's always
Not
Bubba.
nobody can get away with it.
It's
And
always
listen,
Bubba.
I think it was a very similar penalty, intentionally wrecking or spinning out. It's the same penalty.
I think it was a spin.
Now that one, that's egregious, man. That's race manipulation. I don't like it.
So how is this not race manipulation?
Define race manipulation.
The king of double standards.
Ball and strike call.
No.
This isn't black and white.
No, and I mean but see then
It needs to be a judgment call.
Okay, so if it is a judgment call and the judgment is it's a penalty, are you still not about it?
No, because it's too strict.
So then you're not about a ball and strike call.
So do we not love Dale Earnhardt wrecking Terry Labonte on the last lap for the win? Ross Chastain wrecking
Bowman and
Allmendinger?
No, I love it.
What's the difference?
I
You
love
ain't gonna
it.
tell
I'm
me
just
that
saying,
wasn't
don't
intentional.
you can't be saying
I
it.
don't think okay.
I'm
Okay,
saying
okay.
that on the track racing, not egregious contact should not be a penalty.
But see, okay, in Ross's scenario, now maybe I'm wrong in this. When I watched that, to me that looked like hard racing, and he got into him because he was trying to get into the turn too much. Hamlin was very obviously pushing him into the wall. You have a situation where one looks like hard racing, one looks like, and everyone knows the history, so it's like, oh look, Hamlin's right next to Ross, and he's pushing him into the wall. And then right after they get off on the wall, what happens? Ross gets in front of Hamlin, and then Hamlin starts hitting him in the bumper.
I guess I have to agree with Jake, though.
It
Like
just looks...
that call should have been made on the field.
I agree.
And if it can't be made on the field, it shouldn't be made because the driver said, I did this intentionally.
Exactly.
So if Ross comes out there and says,
I could go with that.
I wrecked AJ out of the way. I got into him trying to win the race.
Yeah,
That's not
fine.
going to be called.
No, and that's fine.
So what's the difference?
The difference is I
The way
wrecked
he
him
said it.
because it's Ross. That's basically what he said.
Ross, like, I wrecked him because they ain't me. And I race everybody the same.
I mean,
look at Kevin Harvick.
Logano does the same thing. Logano will wreck everybody in the field.
He don't care. He has no friends.
But does Logano have a podcast where he goes and talks about it?
Chastain has the greatest quote I've ever heard. They asked him, "Hey, are you bringing in? Do you make friends at the racetracks?" He says, "No, I bring my friends. I don't make friends here." Love it.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to our next About It section. All right, so that was a good one. But our next one is the Atlanta Super Speedway package in general, the type of racing that is at Atlanta. So it's a very similar package, pretty much identical to the regular super speedways of Daytona and Talladega, but it's, obviously Atlanta being a different size track, it's a little bit different. So what did you guys think of that? So Lindsay, let's start with you. What did you think of, or what do you think in general? Not so much like this specific race, but the Atlanta style super speedway racing.
I'm about it. I'm about it because it's exciting. And I think it's much more as a spectator to watch the cars interacting with each other, like in close quarters. And I will say that I remember specifically in 2015 when Jake and I were going on our honeymoon, and I said, "Oh, Jake, there's the Atlanta."
Oh yeah, by the way, Jake and Lindsay are married. I don't think we said that.
What's up, man?
So when we were going on our honeymoon, I remember specifically saying, "Jake, look, there's Atlanta Motor Speedway." He said, "That is such a boring racetrack," but now he loves it, so it must have done something.
I do want to say, and just to the fight that's been around forever, like from just my only racing experience, iRacing, old Atlanta is so much fun, and I see why the drivers love it. It's literally amazing.
It's even fun on.
But as a spectator, we went to that last race, and the drivers raved about it. But from the grandstands, dude, it was brutal.
It was rough.
It was brutal. It wasn't. It was. I mean, there was hardly no passing and nothing going on. It wasn't that exciting.
I think Allgaier made comments on that this weekend, didn't he?
Really?
Yeah, he said something about like they pretty much ruined the racetrack.
Well, that's because
remember Kyle Larson's radio.
Well, if you remember, Allgaier hates super speedways.
Yeah.
He hates them.
So does Kyle Larson.
Yeah. Well,
he wrecked out. We were listening.
You always
to his
hate
radio.
things that you suck at.
Yeah. We were listening to his radio when they wrecked, and I mean, he was just like, he was dropping all kind of swear words. How much he hates it, Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
Man. He was racing.
I think all fans love super speedways.
That's not true.
No, not all of them, but
I think the majority of fans.
I feel like the casual to. I feel like most of your casual fans like it more, and then your hardcore fans are probably split 50-50.
Yeah, I could see that. Nate, what do you think overall, like the package?
I mean, it was.
Yeah, I know you don't really have much to compare with old Atlanta and stuff.
Like
but
from my experience so far, it was a great race. Like I feel like it was good. So I'm about it. I don't like like you said, I don't have much to compare to.
Yeah,
because you stayed awake this week.
Yeah, well, being in person, I'm not falling asleep like Jeff, but
here we go again.
But Jeff stood awake. He stood awake.
He was there with us.
Job.
Yeah,
Jeff
he was awake the whole time.
But
he got his rest on the way up.
Yeah, so did I.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Poor
I was
Jeff.
sleeping.
I remember you specifically said in the car, "It's like I'm gonna take a nap." It's like, why? It's like because I don't want to fall asleep in the race. It's like here we go.
Poor Jeff. Our 3-year-old was like at 2 a.m. at Daytona. Yeah, and Jeff's over there asleep.
Well, that's 2-year-olds for you or 3-year-olds for you. Jake, you about it?
Yeah, I'm about it. I really like it. I mean, I'm a fan of super speedway racing, so I really like it. I like regular racing too. So like the second stage, I feel like if you're trying to create super speedway racing, the second stage didn't do that for you, but the first and the third did. Especially the third, man. The third was incredible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we stood up for almost the entire thing. It was awesome. So as far as that goes, I really like it.
Rip the people behind you.
Yeah.
Whatever, bro. People in front of me were standing. I did not drive all that way and spend that money to freaking sit down. I do
did
that
they
on my
yell
couch.
at you?
No, but
He
I wouldn't
always
care.
gets yelled at.
No,
Every time.
no, actually, I think everyone we were around was pretty cool. I don't remember any issues.
Yeah.
He always is getting like
No.
the old people
honestly-
behind him that are like, sit down,
Nah,
sit down.
honestly, I'm sorry not to cut you off, but like, was it just me or did it seem like there was a lot younger fans there?
Yes.
This was definitely a younger demographic.
I don't remember thinking like a lot of older people. A lot of them were like our age, like 30s, 20s, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think that's where you get that casual fan that loves super speedway racing.
Exactly.
Yeah, we were even sitting next to some people that have never even been to a NASCAR race. Those young people, man. And they look like early 20s.
And so some of their comments is what made me say what I was saying earlier about, to come as a brand new fan, like they there's not enough to get them unless you got somebody that's going to show you and get you up to speed on what's going on and like
different things. Like there's different things I think that really help new fans. Like honestly, having radios to where you can listen to the
radios are a must.
I don't know how you come to a race and not anymore. Like I was listening to TJ Majors on Brad's
incredible.
Dude, listening to him for like the last 20 to 30 laps. I don't know how much they pay him, and if he's listening, I agree with this statement 100%. But literally, whatever they pay you, it's not enough. Because bro, you worked so much. It was so good listening to him, like because Brad was blocking the last 40 laps, and was blocking both lines the whole time. I mean, it was so good listening to that.
You were literally getting the play-by-play
of
it was
what
the drivers got.
Good.
And it's just like,
it was
amazing
to
see.
It was life-changing.
Yes. Because then you see why they make the moves that they make. And
well,
how they know how to make those moves.
He's telling them, he's making comments like when you are listening to the spotter, they're not just telling you, hey, go high, go low. They're telling you, hey, there's a run coming on the high side. I'll let you know when it's there. All right, it's going. Go high, go high, go high. Okay, stay there. Hey, the high side's going to keep the momentum. It's going to keep it. Hey, the low side is going to gain a little bit here, but don't worry. Help is coming. You're going to be... There's just so much.
I don't know how they don't have an anxiety attack at the end.
Dude, I was.
We were all stressed.
No, but
we were having the anxiety attack.
I do too, and I get worked up.
There's got to be medication involved or something.
It was so intense,
dude. I mean, like so good, and that's the one thing I think a lot of new fans.
So calm.
That's the thing is, I don't think a lot of new fans realize how important that is. So because I haven't had a chance to say it, I'm about this kind of racing. It's great. I think it's been really good to bring Atlanta, something that, made it a lot more entertaining. But I mean, I think that's something with new fans specifically. It's like they need to know, like, look, radio, like specifically one thing that is the most biggest change that has made. That has, how do I say this? I can't even talk. I'm too tired. So
he's speechless.
I am. I've got like 30 thoughts in my head and I can't think of what I'm trying to say. So no, the radios thing, I think that is, if you had to say what is one thing that can improve the experience, the radio is it.
Oh yeah.
That is the one thing I think that can help. So the NASCAR app is really good because you can, it's got all the radios in there. I think it's like $5 a month or something.
Yeah, it's delayed though if we go to a live race.
But I mean, even if you're watching it on TV, it's great.
Yeah.
Like
I think, and this goes back to, and this what made me and Matt realize what the radio was years ago when we went to Charlotte. Our ticket package came with a radio rental.
Oh yeah.
I'd never tried a radio up until that point, and that was that opened the door to a whole different side.
Yeah, because you didn't used to like it. Because I said one of our first races, or at least my first race that I went to, I said, "Oh, we should get a radio," and he was like, "No."
So here's the thing:
I like to hear the.
It's that,
we still like to hear the engines.
But it's expensive. If you go to the trailer and you try to buy a radio, it's like $300 something bucks.
Oh, no, go
plus
on Amazon.
Headphones, but who knows about that?
It's more that you have to
like
try.
the radio that we have.
Page, we will have it all linked for you. Thank you.
Yeah, let's do that, man. Let's link what we use.
So something. This is kind of getting off on a little bit of a tangent, but we are working on a YouTube channel. One of the things I want to do on there is like a newbie's guide to like a race and like do like a bag review of like, here's all the things to bring to a race.
Bag,
what we keep in there, and then just we want to do that kind of stuff to really help. So Lindsay, make me make that video because I will forget it before we leave this house. So I mean, I think in general it's a really, really great. It's really, really great. I think the package there at Atlanta just produces some really nice racing.
So back to your comment or was it yours about the younger audience, right? The younger fan attendance. That's great, but you got to get them plugged in.
And you got to do it quick.
You got them there.
You got to do it quick.
You got to get them plugged in. So
they got to know. They just got to know.
Atlanta's thing was if it was your first, or Charlotte's thing was if it was your first time at Charlotte and you never bought tickets from Charlotte, that's how you got the free rental.
That's a great idea.
That's how you do it, man.
That is great idea.
As long as I've been watching NASCAR on Fox, it's never been something that's been broadcasted.
No,
and I feel like that
Radioactive on YouTube is literally one of the best videos that comes out.
I watch it every week.
Yeah. And for anyone that's not listening, Radioactive is where at the end, it's like usually comes out, Tuesday, I think?
Yeah, something midweek.
Midweek sometime.
It's
where
like a short film.
It's a short film of like all the highlights, and it's specifically a lot of almost 100% radio chatter from the drivers, from the spotters, and it's great because you know
fantastic.
You start hearing them like get into feuds and start yelling and swearing at each other. You know, what is this idiot doing and stuff like that.
It tells the story of the race from the team's perspective.
It's so good. So yeah, I highly recommend people check that out. But
this
that gives
became
you
a segment about radios being about it or not about it. I'm about the radio.
I'm about the radio.
I think we all are.
Yeah, it's fun too because like I have a radio, but Nate doesn't. But we bring a splitter, and then we're both listening, and we're both picking drivers. So you experience that together.
Yeah.
You know, so even if we all had our own radio, then it would kind of. I feel like it would kind of dilute the experience because I want to be listening to like what everybody else is listening to, or a couple of us, so we can all be like. Oh, you know, like when we hear, you know,
like I was listening to Suarez talk about like the car. And he's like, yeah, the car, the wheel has some play, and I'm like, oh, how did he say it? Oh, he's like, oh, the wheel has about an inch of play. It normally has less play. Just like, I'm like little stuff like that is just funny.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun too because everybody kind of has their person that they like to listen to.
Yeah.
And so
I can think too, like this is a whole segment about radio. When we went to Talladega, me and Lindsay did 3-4 years ago, and we listened. We said we're gonna listen to Chase Elliott from the time he starts to the time he leaves, or finishes the race, wrecks out, whatever. Right? We're gonna go start to the end, and we listened, and he won the race. And like how incredible that was that we listened to the whole team communication and resulted in him winning the race. It was awesome.
I love listening to
Eddie DeHunt.
Yeah, I never know how to say his last name, but he is the most soothing voice.
Yeah.
Like that's how Chase Elliott has to be so calm because he's always like, all right, we're gonna slinky around them. All right, here we go. Okay, we're gonna and then he's like, we're gonna conga. All right, everybody's going.
Next time we go, we'll listen to Eddie DeHunt.
He's
awesome.
So calm.
It's like,
and he'll be
oh
like,
no, they're wrecking.
And then
they're
Chase Elliott will be like,
you.
man, that guy's an idiot. And he's like, yeah, it's
what's
okay.
Funny, he's a Christian, so he never curses at all. So he'll wreck and be like, oh. Gun. I love it.
But he doesn't ever like raise his voice. He'll be like, "Wow, that was wild." Like he's
so big
like.
wreck in front of you.
I love
out.
it.
No, he'll be like, "They're wrecking. We're in it."
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to our next one. So we still got a few more, and we're already running long. All right. So pit road exit or entrance is moved to turn 3 at the track. So for anyone that knows, normally, you know, at a super speedway, you have a pretty long run up because obviously speeds and stopping is kind of tough. But Atlanta, being that it's smaller, they decided to move the entrance to pit road, and you had to be at speed at the entrance of turn 3. So yeah, it's definitely a little different change. So Jake, I'm going to start with you. What did you think? Are you about it or not?
I'm about it. I don't know what else you could do. I mean, they could barely run. They could run like 3. If they're running 3 wide, you can't. There's no way to pull off down out of turn 4. So, I mean, I'm about it because you have to do it. I'm about NASCAR being proactive, or whether this was the teams that initiated this or whatever. This is super proactive, and I'm about it, man. I like it. It's a good call.
All right, Nate.
Yeah, I'm about it. It makes for better pitting. So all in all, I mean, there's not much to say about it. I feel, but.
I mean, they had to do it.
They had to do it, yeah, because you will be going into the pits way too quick, way too fast.
I mean, it would result you in having to start getting on the brakes in the middle of 3 and 4 while a pack is still going full speed.
And I guarantee you that would be massive.
That would be super ugly.
All right, Lindsay.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said everything to say. I think we all kind of are in agreement there.
So it's funny, me and Matt were talking about it on the drive home since everyone else in the car was asleep. And we were talking about it, and both me and him were kind of not about it. Like, Matt,
okay, why?
So Matt's thing.
Jake's face.
So it's going to be tough because obviously Matt's not here, but he was saying like his problem was couldn't see anything. Like because it's on the other side of the track.
Yeah, but if we sat in turn 4, you may feel different. We sat in turn 1 almost.
Okay, fair enough.
We sat at pit road exit.
The problem is it's like you have no idea what's going on that side, and that's usually there's a lot of action, like who's jumping ahead of who, and you couldn't see any of that. I don't know if that could be an Atlanta problem because honestly, one thing Atlanta I think does need to work on is they need better screens because their screens are really tiny and they're not. There's like 3 for the whole track. Like they need to work on that.
I had to use my binoculars to see the replays, and we sat on like row 20. We were not that high.
Yeah, so I mean, My problem was that I was not about it was if you did a green flag pit stop, you were down 3 laps.
2 laps.
Was it 2?
Exactly 2 laps.
Okay. It was like that hurts.
Ryan Blaney did go down 3 at one point because he sped and lost another lap.
And that's something else is pass through penalty. Man, you get a pass through penalty there.
You're screwed.
That is treacherously bad. Yeah. So I almost want.
I say you're screwed, but Blaney came back for a pretty decent finish.
Well, that's because of the wrecks, and he was the next guy down, the lucky dog. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm with you in the sense. I don't know I don't know what else you do though.
What if you don't put a pit road speed limit on the apron?
I think
around 3 and 4.
I mean, you still have the problem. Then you have people spinning out on the apron.
Yeah,
because they're going
to be freaking busted.
They'd be flying. Then you'd be seeing people over there doing Tokyo drift.
What about an increased speed limit?
I've been doing a what?
An increased speed limit. Do 100, and then you got to drop down to 50 by the time you get down to pit road. They could do that because I was listening to the driver audio, and they're running different lights.
I saw that. Yeah.
So they were saying around the corner because it's all about timing. So you could run a little faster if you ran as wide a radius as possible.
Yeah.
Because your time was shorter.
Right.
It's all about your time.
Because it's
not
about
your speed limit. It's about your time from section to section. There's I think there's 5 or 6 sections around the corner.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So, I mean, maybe you increase that to 100 miles an hour and then drop it down.
Maybe that would be. I don't know. That would be an idea. That's actually because, like I said, I don't know how else you handle it because you can't have the entrance at 4. It's just too tight over there. So
there's no way.
I think you have to, but I don't know. That was my problem. Was I'm like, man,
with the rear impact concerns that there are, I mean, that could be catastrophic.
I mean, because by the time just to put it in perspective, by the time teams were getting onto pit road, the pack was already coming almost up to 3. They were almost all the way around by that point. Yeah. So I get it. I just, it's tough. It's a tough situation in that. Just it has to do with this is a very unique track, and obviously we're not going to know the perfect answer because there's no other track to compare it to.
It is a one of a kind, so it's probably going to have some one of a kind.
I'd be interested to try that. Do 2 different speed limits. I think that'd be an interesting way to go about it. At least to try it.
Yeah.
So
the other part is, I mean, where it was at, it happened to be exactly 2 laps, so it kept them packed up pretty good because they'd come out and they were in the pack and.
Yeah, honestly,
they could have got really spread out if you do that.
Once they did the very first green flag pit stops, that's the field just went all over the place, and then it was kind of cool to see them group back up. At first, I was like, man, I don't know if I like this because I have no idea who's leading, who's on what strategy. Because again, you can't see pit road, so you have to really pay attention. So it was a little hard to follow in that sense, but. I mean, it definitely made sure they didn't stay single file the whole time.
I would be happy if I go to Atlanta and never see another green flag pit stop.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a good place to end it. All right. So
it's just, I mean, the 2 wide racing is way better than a single file choo-choo train. You know what I'm saying?
The
choo-choo.
Congo.
Yep.
Yeah, the Congo has Eddie DeHunt.
Moving on to our next topic. So Josh Williams parks his car after in the Xfinity race. He parks it in the middle of the race. On the start-finish line.
Just to clarify, you're talking about King Josh Williams, right?
Yes, King Josh Williams. Yes. He parks it there because NASCAR tells him to park his car because it is throwing Barabond all over the car or all over the track.
I'm about it.
I'm not surprised.
I love the drama, man. I thought it was, you know what? He was expressing himself the best way he knew how. I mean, he made a comment to someone after the incident was like, what is he gonna do? What are they gonna do? Find me? I can't afford to pay it. He's just being real, man.
Denny Hamlin said he'd pay it.
Yeah. I was like, well, there you go.
Yeah. I'm so for me, I'm honestly split on this one because there's the part of me that's like, yes, as a fan, I love this. I think it's awesome. But then there's the other part of me that's like, bro, you parked in the middle of the track, in the middle of the race.
They said to park it, and he parked it.
That's it.
Again, as a fan, I agree.
Hey, we said black and white. Yeah. You said park it, I parked it.
Yeah, that's it, man.
All right, so next time they got to make sure they designate, parking spots.
Park into garage stall 36.
Yeah.
Yeah, at speed. Make sure you maintain a speed limit of X amount. Yeah, because... So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my opinion is I'm kind of torn on it. I think from a safety standpoint, come on, you can't do that. But at the same time, as a fan.
They wreck on the racetrack. Who cares?
It was in the middle of the race.
It was under yellow.
Oh, that makes it better.
It was all the way to the left.
It wasn't green.
I mean,
it wasn't in the middle of the field. It was to the left a little bit.
which
I love when he goes in there to a flag stand and throws a peace sign.
and then walks all the way back. The best part was he gets all the way to his pit stall and is talking. And they're like, "Oh, you got to go to the medical care center." He's like, "I'm fine."
What I love is the meme that they the GIF that they did of this guy. Is it Cartman from South Park? Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Oh, dude, I haven't seen that one. That's hilarious. Jake, what do you think? Are you?
I'm 100% about it.
Yeah, I
We
figured.
knew it.
You know, and here's the reason why.
Because you're reckless.
No, man. I think the penalty that they asked him down the pit road was bull crap. Because, look, here's the deal. The Xfinity race was a mess, and I think we're going to talk about that.
Yep.
But, I mean, he had a piece of bear bond fall off his car, right? And that's why they threw a yellow. I mean, that you're gonna make him come down. I mean, that happens almost every time there's a wreck. A piece of bear bond comes off. That's a normal thing. And because this back marker team, you want to get him off the. I mean, that I don't know, man. He's gonna be on DBC, and I cannot wait to hear what he says. And I hope they get him to be free and speak his mind.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I feel like his team had to be
Then
prepared.
he could be fined like Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, his team had to be prepared for.
Yeah, but he could just come back and say, "Oh, it just quit running, so I parked it."
It was
Yeah.
the cold. I think they mentioned.
Oh,
that
they did.
The cold was
The bear bond was
it
not
wouldn't-
sticking.
It was
wouldn't
not
stick.
sticking, man.
We saw in the Cup race somebody took off and bear bond was falling off. It wouldn't stick.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it seemed kind of like a made up bull crap penalty. I mean, it's in the rule books that
Yeah.
if you cause too many cautions or something like that, they can black flag you and remove you from the race. But that just seemed egregious and not.
So
right.
maybe they shouldn't have parked him, but just told him, "Hey, you have to pit.
Come down and fix this thing. And then if you go over the damaged vehicle clock,
We'll let you."
no, you're out.
Oh, okay. So still
Like if
keep
you
the
come
clock
down, it didn't work, and you went over your clock time, then you're out. But
Yeah.
just causing the accidental caution, I mean, it happens all the time.
So this is kind of where we talk about the clock thing, and it's like I think in this kind of scenario, like let him go back to the garage, let him fix it, and then let him come back out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let the man race, man.
Yeah,
I hate the damaged vehicle policy.
we didn't let Lindsay go. Lindsay, the mom in the group,
Here we go.
What does that have to do with anything?
because you're gonna lean to safety.
No, I'm going to lean towards, I think that if it was somebody that y'all
it's
didn't.
about it or not. You got to start with about it or not.
Oh, I'm about that not.
What?
I'm half about it and half not about it because
So she's like,
no, I'm about it. But here's the deal. I 100% think that if it was somebody that y'all didn't like that did it, the narrative would be
Totally
completely
different.
different. And they'd be like, oh my gosh.
If
that
this
guy,
was
he is-"
Logano.
No, or if it was freaking Bubba
Well, I
Wallace,
mean-
they'd be like, he is such a baby. Oh my gosh.
But here's the difference. This is a low underfunded team.
Exactly.
And,
It wasn't
and
in
what
Cup.
they would never do that to Logano. That would never happen. Never.
Well, we'll never know, will we?
Yeah. Well,
No,
you want to
mean,
let
who-
these
who-
Xfinity guys race, man.
I will
Come
say,
on,
They're trying to
man.
make a
I
name
will
for
say
themselves.
That's a
it
good
was
point.
no. I really did think it was awesome. It was super fun to watch. Twitter was hysterical for
Oh,
like
yeah.
30 minutes afterwards.
Listen, if
Yeah.
nothing else, people are gonna know about NASCAR because of the
Yeah.
Hail Melon and the dude parking with a mullet.
no, it
Josh
was,
Williams was number 3 trending on Twitter.
yeah. And there was another
Dude,
random Josh Williams,
I couldn't remember what his last name was, and I literally just typed Josh in Google.
and it popped up.
Josh Williams. I was like, look, Josh is a very common name, and the first one, Josh Williams, American race car driver. I'm like,
Hey,
You know
listen.
what's funny?
and-
Their shop is from Lake Wales.
yeah, just down the
Oh,
road.
yeah.
Yeah, so the headlines are missed. The Florida man parks race car in the middle of the racetrack.
No, I thought it was super fun. There was a guy on Twitter. His name was also Josh Williams, and he said, "I hope that when they send the fine out, they get the right Josh Williams."
Oh, God.
And, yeah.
And, I mean, any publicity is good publicity, you know? And especially
Yeah.
these guys trying to make a name for themselves. Hey, man, he got a lot of attention this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you that. So good for
Hey,
him.
Well,
I'll tell
they
you, I'll
say
be
that-
watching out for the 92 now.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
they say. The Xfinity Series is where names are made.
Hey, that's true.
That's it.
Wow, you should do social media with that. All right. So kind of talking about that, we're going to move in. This is the same section where the record number of cautions for the Xfinity race and the truck race. You guys about it? Not about it? I was busy, did not get a chance to watch this, but I heard it was a mess.
It was.
So are you about it?
I'm about it, man. It just shows the inexperience of these guys. I mean, they got to learn. I mean, I can't knock it. I mean, it's totally new. I'm not about the lack of practice. The race was a freaking crap show because there was no practice.
Yeah.
You know, if these guys had a chance to, I mean, the Xfinity and truck teams, they don't have sim money like the Cup teams do. So this is ridiculous to put them in that situation. Harrison Burton spinning out under qualifying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a lack of practice that they can't come set up the car. Ty Gibbs getting to the wall during qualifying. I like them struggling on qualifying, but this whole Xfinity truck race, no practice, is bull crap.
Yeah.
You know, you want to say we're going to do it for Daytona and then not do it for Daytona 2 or Talladega 1 and 2, that's fine. But Atlanta's completely freaking different, man.
Well, and there's also less sample sizes with a new Atlanta. Like with Daytona, like everyone knows Daytona. Like the track's been the same for years. Talladega's been the same for years.
Yeah.
Atlanta, we only have what? This is the third race?
It's a new style of paving, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very different.
There's no data on this, man. Next to nothing.
And so, I mean, last year they were still learning the cars. They still don't quite, the first Atlanta race, they probably still didn't know.
There was a major rule change in Xfinity this year.
Yeah.
So, honestly, this is why the Xfinity cars were so unstable. There was a rule that allowed the right end to be skewed out, and it would dump a bunch of air on the spoiler.
Okay.
And so when you go through the corner, you get a bunch more air on the spoiler, you get a bunch more downforce, which is grip. So they got rid of that rule. So the Xfinity cars have less grip. This is going to make for better racing everywhere else and better parity everywhere else because the teams with more money can do it better than everybody else.
Yep. So
it's going to be good, but you can't not let these teams have practice, man. Now when we go to Daytona, Talladega, I mean, as somebody that wants to camp, I want it.
Yeah.
But I understand where they're cutting it, whatever. But Atlanta's completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw Phoenix last week. Here's a brand new package. We're going to give you an hour of practice.
Yeah.
So why wasn't Atlanta the same thing?
Yep. Nate, about it?
I'm about it from watching it at home, the watching it at home perspective, but it had to be rough for the fans that were watching in person.
Especially because it was cold.
It was cold. Like it was clearly cold, especially Saturday because people were bundled up. But then at the same time, you just have to watch these cars go round and round, super slow. I mean, it's like, you go to these races to see fast racing. You know what I mean? Not a bunch of cautions. Like literally, they have that new bar on the TV, the caution and
the progress bar.
Yeah,
and I mean, you see literally, it was mostly yellow.
And there was
Last
barely
week-
any green.
Phoenix was all green. This week was all yellow.
Like, come on, man.
One extreme to the other.
There's got to be some sort of balance, I feel, So like from watching it at home, we're like, whoa, one wreck after the other.
Right.
And we're doing our thing over here, we're chatting or whatever. But like people,
you get under a caution, we get up, we go jump on the iRacing, we all running laps. Like we can, we have something we're feeling. I mean, if you're sitting there.
If you're sitting there, man, I mean, that must be boring.
It's kind
Yeah.
So
download some good apps on your phone.
Right.
Some good games.
Lindsay.
No, I agree exactly with what Nate said. I think that here it was exciting, but in the stands, I would have been like, all right, I wonder if they put anything new in the gift shop. All right, I wonder if they put anything new in the gift shop. And it was cold, and they kept showing this one grandma, and that poor grandma looked so miserable, but I feel like she had to have been sucking it up for her grandkid or her son or something.
Hey, Saturday night was the real race fans because it was so cold.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that
They're
poor
sticking
lady.
it out, man.
I remember that poor lady you're talking about too.
Because we were like, oh, that poor lady.
She had like 3 sweaters on.
She
3
did,
hoodies
and she had like a blanket, this poor grandma, and she was like standing up like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's rough.
Am I about it or not? I'm gonna say I'm not about it, only because like I don't know. I'm kind of with Jake. Like, I think I understand in some situations, obviously not having practice is going to happen. If it's rained out or whatever, like obviously you're not going to but they've
that's the other thing. Xfinity truck had no qualifying. They were green.
Yeah.
That was the first time
And
they were getting
see,
on the racetrack, man. That's freaking dumb.
The problem is they're stuck in a situation with those two that, like, for example, so like if there's bad weather on Friday and Saturday, so what do? They push it to after the Cup race. Ain't nobody going to stay. Ain't nobody going to come. Because we had that happen in, what was it? Not Phoenix, Vegas, I think it was.
No, Auto Club.
Auto Club, yep. And dude, the stands were like empty.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you know that if there were people that had cup passes and was there for the main event, why wouldn't you stay? Unless you just got to get home or whatever, you got something going on. But, why wouldn't you stay and watch another race for free? And it was still empty. And I just feel like that it hurts them. But at the same time, like, I don't know, they're stuck because the cup race has to happen at the time it happens because of TV and everything. Those two series kind of just have to deal with whatever's left over. So I don't know how you fix that, in those kind of scenarios. But yeah, especially something like Atlanta, something like, this, a newer track, like you got to give them practice, man. These guys, there's just too many things, especially with just things going on. Like you got to give them practice. And if nothing else, it's another event that you can put on TV, another event that you can hype up, another event you can have people at the track. Like, I don't know. I don't fully understand why they're like, oh, we're going to take this away now. I just don't get it.
Yeah. Not for a unique track. I mean, we talked about that with the pit road.
Yeah.
It's unique. It requires its own unique things.
Oh, yeah. Stopping for pit road. I mean, how many tracks do you stop on the backstretch?
The Cup cars, I could see why no practice because they have so much sim data. You probably don't need it. But it's so much simulation. And it's so accurate that, honestly, I mean, they were talking about the Cup teams were probably going to run a few laps, make sure everything worked, and then park it. So they get that during qualifying,
Yeah, true.
So I think the Cup, there's no need. But, like Josh Williams, if he can't pay a fine, I mean, can you think he's affording sim time?
No, he has iRacing probably.
Yeah.
And is probably playing with a Logitech wheel or something like that.
In his basement.
What are you saying? I think my rig's okay.
Basically, what he's saying is Josh Williams is Jake. Let's be real. That would totally be Jake if he could get into NASCAR.
I wish.
All right. So let's wrap things up. Let's look forward to next week. So next week, we're going to COTA, going to Circuit of the Americas. Well, we're not. No. Okay.
Just to clarify.
We as the NASCAR community is going to COTA. Like in my case, I'm super excited. We're about to have a lot of eyes, I think, on.
I think
NASCAR.
I think this is probably one of the races you're most excited about.
I have been hyped up for this.
We're like, we're going to Atlanta. DJ's like, but don't forget about COTA next week.
Yeah, like, but we're going to the Atlanta. Yeah, but COTA.
but that COTA though.
So I'm super excited.
Isn't
for
that
this.
guy from Indy or Formula One?
So you? Oh gosh. So yes, we have.
Is Connor Daly going?
Yes, Connor.
Connor Daly. Yeah.
Hey, Jake, did you know Connor Daly's going?
I missed that last week.
Twice. Oh yeah. So so Connor Daly from IndyCar, he's racing.
Yeah.
You have Jordan. I can't remember his last name.
Taylor.
He's an IMSA champion. He's filling in for Chase
That's
Elliott.
what I got circled, man.
Yeah, he should be pretty good.
That dude's he's a baller sports car racer.
Yeah, isn't he in the Garage 56 program? Or he's in.
I think he
something.
did. No, I don't think so.
I thought it was 50. I don't remember.
He may have done some of the testing or something.
Maybe something like that.
He won't be racing in Le Mans.
God, there was something that he did. I just don't remember what it was. Anyway, then you have two Formula One champions, like retired champions, that are coming and racing in it too. Right. So Kimi Räikkönen and Jenson Button. So yeah,
that should be cool to see.
I think it's. I think that NASCAR's got to make sure they're on their game because this is going to be the week that I think you're going to have a lot of people watching. I mean, Kimi Räikkönen. The thing about Formula One fans is, think about how diehard people are for their drivers in NASCAR. Formula One, in a lot of ways, is a lot more tied to those drivers. In some cases, like there are people that are ride or die fans for Kimi Räikkönen and for Jenson Button. So I'm super excited.
This might be a good move financially for NASCAR.
Yeah. And I like it too because the one thing we were talking about it in the car, and I think it's a really good chance for NASCAR to compare themselves to the product that Formula One puts on because Formula One races here too. So now NASCAR can look at this and be like, okay, how did our broadcast compare to Formula One's broadcast?
It's not even the same.
No, it's not, but they can at least.
I mean, it's not the same because the event is completely different.
No, but it still gives them a way to compare it and say, okay, how can we make ours better?
And turn one in NASCAR is kind of a crap show versus Formula One.
I mean, maybe.
I can't wait for you to see this. You're going to be like, what the heck is going on? They go about 11 wide into turn one.
Smokes.
I don't know. Well, hold on. It's not. Is it? I was going to say, did he watch Indy with us?
Did you watch Indy?
No.
The Indy
no,
road
it's not in
course?
the playoffs, is it?
What, in St.
It
Pete?
is, isn't it?
I don't think it is.
No. They need the Indianapolis road course last year. No, because
I don't think you did.
didn't, no.
That one was. It's going to be like that, but yeah, you haven't seen that. So yeah, no, it's wild.
It's wild.
Yeah,
There's
I
nothing
can't wait to
else
see
like
it.
it besides Indy.
It's kind of like, you know how Phoenix, everyone spreads out at the thing. It's
Okay,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
But half as wide.
but it's much. Wow. Yeah, they'll go 7 wide at least.
in a like 140-degree turn.
It's almost all the way around.
That's
It's
wild.
funny.
And it's up a hill. Like everything about it is like wild. It's a really good track. I'm really excited for it. You guys, anything you guys are looking forward to?
You pretty much nailed it. I mean, I think it'll be really interesting because we haven't seen a road course yet. So it's kind of like the final style of track besides the one-off Bristol dirt race. That we'll see who's fast there, what team, what manufacturer.
Yeah.
So, but with Jordan Taylor, he's getting in the 9 car. So, I mean, that's typically been the fastest road course car for the last
3 years.
3-4 years.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how he does.
Yeah. Nate, anything you're looking forward to other than carnage?
Ooh. Ross Chastain's going to drop a watermelon off the tower to
I
celebrate
saw
his
that.
win.
I saw that, and I was like, dude, that's awesome.
So he's
doing that and he's not doing it if he wins. He's doing
just
it
doing
regardless.
it just like a celebration.
Oh, that's
thing.
awesome.
But this guy's like, okay, the tower's 261 feet tall, and based off of how much a watermelon weighs, he's like doing all the math. He's like, it's going to be, when it hits the ground, 86 miles an hour.
I love it.
Lord.
The thing's going to get obliterated.
So when we were at Atlanta, when they were interviewing him, someone asked him, like, if the watermelon was frozen, would it still break? Like, that was one of the questions that the fans were asking. He's like,
if we're ever
I don't
going to
know.
find out,
I
it'll
don't
be
know.
today.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know. He goes, what if it was? And then Ross was like taking it serious. He's like, well, I don't know. If it was solid all the way through, frozen all the way, and like legit trying to think through this answer.
He's like,
That is
I'd
actually really
have to
interesting.
really throw it hard.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty interesting.
Random thoughts. All right, Lindsay, anything you're looking forward to with
Yeah,
Coda?
just a good time.
Sweet.
No, I like watching road courses because I think it's like a good break from the typical, ovals that we usually see. So I think it'll be exciting.
Oh, something really important. No cautions for the stages this week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that'll be different.
That'll be really different.
That
Yeah.
is kind of weird.
Yeah. Are you up on that?
Yes, I saw that.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. Yeah, so
I
that
think I shared something about that on.
maybe. I don't know, but that I totally forgot they
Oh,
did
that's
that.
right.
Yeah.
So that'll be. It'll really be the fastest of the fast. My only thing is, I hope we see. I hope they're not so hesitant to throw the yellow, like they have been in the past.
Road courses, they always are. And with this track
Yeah.
being wide, like it's not like super tight, so it's
But
possible.
if this thing goes half the distance and no cautions, it'll be so strung out.
yeah.
It's not going to be entertaining.
Yeah, because there's no way to force
I say
it back.
that. I assume it's not going to be very
Because that's the thing with when
because
you're
this racetrack is huge.
yeah. It's not
so
Road
huge.
America big, but it's big.
It's still like
2.5, I think, 2.6.
no, I think it's like 3, right?
Maybe it is. I don't remember. It's big, but before we kind of wrap it up, Lindsay, you want to tell everyone kind of where they can find us on social media and everything as we're kind of wrapping up while Jake's looking up that.
Yeah, so we're pretty much here for the speed on all platforms. We have Twitter, which Jake and Matt do a lot of the replying on there, which gets interesting.
3.4 miles.
Okay.
Welcome.
3.41.
Yeah, so Jake and Matt do a lot of the posting on there. So if you hear a lot of Brad stuff, you obviously know it's Matt. And
Can we talk about that? Poor Matt.
Oh man.
heartbroken.
He
Poor
was-
Matt.
dude, he was on
so
edge.
zoned in. He wasn't talking to anybody.
No. He
was
had his
totally
ears
in his own world, just watching.
me and
Brad.
him were both listening to TJ, and man,
I
he
wanted
was,
him to win so bad
So
for
we
Matt.
we had all our
We were
group,
all rooting for Brad.
dude.
Yeah.
I
we
wanted
were.
him to win so bad.
We were all pretty much sitting in a row, and then there was like me and Matt's dad came with us, so it was me, Matt's dad, and Matt. We're all like one row lower. Dude, and then it started to clear out like the stands and stuff. Dude, by the end of that race, like Matt was like off on his own, like 2 or 3 rows away
was
from us.
stressed.
Just so like he was standing and like moving and just like couldn't sit
You
still.
could tell he was so
Oh, he was
nervous.
so
Yeah,
nervous. And I'm
well-
just sitting here thinking, I'm like, if there's one thing I know about super speedways, it's that I never want to be in the lead
Yeah.
for this long.
That's what I said because we were watching the last laps and I said, "Man, it sucks that he's in this because he's not gonna win." That's how it goes.
I will say, between him and his spotter, though, throw some ridiculously good clean blocks.
Oh yeah.
Like he
Oh,
was.
yeah.
I did see that. He
was
dominated those 40
wheeling-
laps.
Yep.
He was wheeling the heck out of that thing. I mean, he did everything he could. I mean, there
Yeah.
wasn't much he could do to stop
I even
that.
texted the Here for the Speed group chat and I said, if he's about to win, somebody film Matt, please.
Yep,
Like-
I was already thinking that.
Like,
I was
come
already
on.
ready.
This is gonna be gold. We will make millions with this.
Yeah.
But so socials. On Twitter we are at Here for the Speed, and on Instagram it's also at Here for the Speed, and then Facebook is just Here for the Speed. And then YouTube we will be launching shortly.
Yep. We're working on working into getting into what's it called? Live streaming. There's a possibility that we're still gonna.
Well, we
look
have
into
some vlogs that we're planning.
Yep. We've filmed some stuff from Atlanta, so we'll be putting that on there, and then we'll be doing some shorts and stuff like that. Just throwing it on there. So we're gonna try to hit YouTube a little harder. That's something that we want to kind of get into more, and then obviously as we kind of do into that, we'll probably be start looking into live streaming the show, but that's kind of down the road. That's coming up.
Yeah, whoever's watching it or whoever's listening, thank you. Thank you
Yep.
for being a part of our NASCAR
Our hangout?
Yeah, our NASCAR
We're hanging out.
conversations.
We're hanging out at the ping pong table right now, underneath a junior pool lamp. Jake is saluting.
Saluting.
We have to.
While wearing my Dale Jr. shirt.
Perfect.
You know, that's what I told
you
Matt.
mean your Kyle Busch shirt?
No, stop.
Oh God.
One of these
what I told
days, if
Matt
I can
was-
sneak in here, I'm gonna put like Kyle Busch on this car.
God. You'll be banned.
I would be.
I told Matt
I'm about it.
being a junior fan for so long. Like I've listened to TJ a bunch.
Yeah.
So like that heartbreak, I was like, bro, I know what it feels like. I felt so bad for him just
Oh,
because
man.
I've been there, man. Where
It
you
was-
finish second, you're
it
like,
was
oh,
Man, he was
so-
close to getting Brad's autograph too, man.
He was.
almost.
I
He'll
was
get there.
really, I was like
He
trying
was
to.
standing next to him,
Yeah.
and then a guy came up with a package of Hawaiian spring rolls. It was like, "Can you sign my buns?" And Brad's like, "Yeah, all right."
Sure. He said he's
At
like,
that point,
Matt
Brad
was-
didn't stand a chance.
Brad signed my bread.
He walked around,
what he
Brad signed my bread.
Stop.
Everybody around was like, ah.
Matt
hilarious.
was literally upstaged by Bread.
He was upstaged by a dude's buns. Poor guy. All right.
I'll tell you one other thing. I definitely want to give a shout out. Friends of ours from Daytona.
Oh, yeah,
that live
yeah.
in Charlotte. One lives in Chicago. But we shot them a text on Saturday, and they came down and we all met together and hung out for the race on
Yeah, that was
Sunday.
cool.
So, Evan and Jennifer, love you guys, man. It's super fun to hang out with you.
Yeah,
Yep.
man. Totally part of the crew.
And if you listen this long, I really apologize for you guys, but I'm glad you're listening.
How long are we at right now?
Oh, we're at like an hour 20.
Oh wow,
It's because of me.
man! If you make it all the way, y'all definitely hearing us. Man.
They're definitely here for the speed.
We really appreciate you. Because y'all are definitely here for the speed for sure. So, all right. So, do you guys have anything you guys want to close out with? Anything?
Like,
Congrats.
share, follow.
Yeah, congrats to Joey Logano, man.
Yep.
That car would not be denied.
No, absolutely not.
and good job, Ford, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. Yeah, Ford dominance, man. Oh my,
they're back.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 wins, or I'm sorry, not 8 wins. 8 in the top 10 on qualifying.
That was insane.
Wild.
Ford is
So much,
back.
so much for that Chevy dominance.
Yeah.
They took away the louvers.
The Chevy streak ends.
That was funny. All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys next week. We got to get ready for bed because we're exhausted. But we'll be back next time for the next race. We'll catch you guys later. See you
Peace.
later.
Bye.
Later.
Bye bye.